You've encountered them people who, at first glance, may seem friendly or even charming, but as you dig deeper, you start to realize that something's not right. Bad people have a way with words. They use their words to manipulate, control, and tear down. They speak in a way that can make you doubt yourself, question your own reality, and even change your behavior. And if you listen closely enough, you'll hear them say the same things. First, let's talk about manipulation. They flatter you to gain your trust. You're the only one who gets it, they might say, or you're the best at this now. On the surface, these words may seem kind, but in reality, they're trying to get you hooked, trying to convince you that you need them. They want to control your actions, your decisions, and even your thoughts. Next, you'll notice that these people never take responsibility for anything. When things go wrong, they deflect. They'll say, it wasn't me, or you're overreacting. They avoid the truth because facing it would mean owning their actions. They'll do anything to make sure they come out smelling like roses, even if it means making you look like the villain. But here's the thing, you can't trust the way they twist reality. They have a knack for instilling doubt. Ever heard them say, are you sure you remember it right, or that didn't happen? These are the words of someone who's trying to make you question your own memory, your own experience. They want you to second guess everything so they can continue to manipulate you and control. These words minimize their impact and avoid accountability, making sure they don't have to face the consequences of their behavior. They will shift the blame to circumstances or others, never to themselves. Finally, they'll try to tear you down. These words will hurt the most. You'll never make it, or you're not good enough. They want you to believe that you can't achieve anything, that you're not worthy of success, or that you don't have what it takes. These words are meant to crush your spirit, to make you feel small, and to keep you dependent on their negativity. But here's the thing, you don't have to let these words define you. You have the power to recognize when someone is trying to manipulate, gaslight, or tear you down. You don't have to take their words to heart. Don't let anyone rewrite your story. You are in control of your narrative, and you get to decide which words you listen to. When you hear those words, when you hear someone trying to manipulate, deflect, or break you down, don't take it as truth. Take it as a sign that it's time to walk away, to rise above. You don't need to engage in their games. You're better than that. Stand firm in your own truth. Trust your instincts. You don't need validation from anyone who seeks to bring you down. The power is yours. Don't let bad people hold it hostage with their words. Keep your head high, your heart strong, and know that the words of others only matter if you let them. You are worthy, you are capable, and no one has the right to take that away from you. Bad people often begin their manipulation by using flattery, but it's not the kind of praise that comes from a genuine place. It's calculated and designed to win your trust and make you feel special. They'll tell you, you're the only one who truly understands me, or you're the best at what you do. At first, these words might feel good. They might even feel like a compliment, but there's a deeper agenda behind them. They aren't lifting you up to celebrate your worth. They're setting the stage to control you. By making you feel unique, by telling you that you're different from everyone else, they create an emotional bond. They want you to believe that you share a special connection that no one else can understand, and this creates a sense of dependence. You start to believe that only they truly get you, and this perception makes it easier for them to have influence over you. You may begin to ignore red flags because, after all, they flattered you, told you how amazing you are, and you want to believe it. The more they say these things, the more they make you feel like you need them in your life. Flattery from a manipulator often leads to emotional entrapment because it builds up your ego and makes you vulnerable to their ulterior motives. They want you to feel indispensable, as though you're the one person they can trust or rely on. The more you buy into the idea that you're exceptional, the more control they have over you. You may end up compromising your values or making sacrifices just to maintain the approval and admiration they've convinced you is necessary. This type of manipulation works because it feeds into your desires for recognition and validation. Bad people know that people are often drawn to praise and attention, especially when it feels like it's coming from someone who admires them. And once they have your trust, they can use that power to bend situations in their favor, often without you even realizing it. You might find yourself agreeing to things you wouldn't normally agree to, or doing things that go against your better judgment, all because they've made you feel important, special, and worthy of their attention. However, you must understand that when someone uses flattery to control you, it's never about you, it's about them. It's about creating a false sense of loyalty or attachment that ultimately serves their interests, not yours. Recognizing this type of manipulation is crucial because once you see it, you can start to protect yourself from it. The next time someone showers you with excessive praise, ask yourself, are they trying to empower me or are they trying to manipulate me for something in return? Flattery may feel nice, but remember, when it's used for control, it's a red flag one you should never ignore. Bad people have a way of making everything about someone else, never taking ownership for their actions or the consequences that follow. When things go wrong, they quickly shift blame and do whatever it takes to avoid accountability. They might say things like, it wasn't me, or you're overreacting, dismissing any responsibility for the situation. Instead of acknowledging their part in the conflict, they deflect, making it seem like they're an innocent bystander who's been unfairly targeted. It's a tactic that allows them to avoid the discomfort of admitting mistakes and to maintain control of the narrative. By refusing to take responsibility, they create a sense of confusion and doubt in others, often making you second-guess your own perceptions. This avoidance of accountability can be especially dangerous because it puts you in a position where you're left questioning whether you're being too harsh or unfair in your judgment. They will make you feel like you're the one who's exaggerating or that you're imagining things. Instead of owning up to their shortcomings, they twist the situation to make themselves appear blameless, thus protecting their own image while you're left cleaning up the mess. This tendency to avoid responsibility doesn't just affect one incident, it's a pattern. Bad people will repeatedly evade taking responsibility for their actions, making excuses that seem plausible enough to believe in the moment, but which ultimately crumble under scrutiny. They'll tell you things like, you don't understand, or it wasn't that serious, downplaying the impact of their actions because admitting fault would require them to confront uncomfortable truths. In their eyes, acknowledging their mistakes would strip them of power, so they continue to deflect, avoid, and sidestep the consequences of their choices. What's dangerous about this is that it breeds a toxic cycle. The more they avoid responsibility, the more you feel burdened with the fallout of their actions. They put the weight on you, leaving you with the emotional labor of sorting things out. This can lead to feelings of frustration, confusion, and even guilt, making you question whether you're the one who should be apologizing for something that wasn't your fault in the first place. They create an environment where their lack of accountability affects everyone else, forcing others to pick up the pieces while they remain unscathed. The key to recognizing this behavior is in the repeated refusal to admit fault. When someone consistently avoids taking responsibility, it's not just an isolated incident, it's a reflection of their character. They're not willing to face the truth or learn from their mistakes because doing so would require humility and growth. Instead, they choose to stay stuck in a cycle of avoidance, never learning, never improving, but always looking for others to bear the weight of their irresponsibility. Understanding this pattern allows you to stop giving them the power to control your emotional state and begin protecting yourself from the damage that comes from the refusal to take responsibility. One of the most insidious tactics bad people use is instilling doubt. They have a way of making you question your own thoughts, your own experiences, and even your own reality. They don't always need to be aggressive or overt in their approach often. It's in the subtle phrasing of their words that they sow seeds of uncertainty. Phrases like, are you sure you remember it that way? Or that didn't happen. You're imagining things are designed to make you second guess what you know to be true. They want to confuse you, to make you feel like you're the one who's wrong, when in reality, it's them who's manipulating the situation. This strategy is particularly dangerous because it shakes the very foundation of your confidence and self-assurance. When someone is constantly questioning your perceptions, it begins to erode your trust in yourself. You start to wonder whether you're being too sensitive or too reactive, whether you've misinterpreted events or whether you're just overthinking. This doubt can paralyze you, making you hesitant to speak up or to trust your instincts in the future. Over time, these small doubts accumulate, leading you to believe that maybe you don't know what's real anymore, that maybe you can't rely on yourself as much as you thought. By making you question your reality, bad people gain power over your mind. They make you feel like you need their version of the truth to validate your own, that you cannot trust your own observations or feelings. This tactic is particularly effective because it appeals to your own vulnerability. Everyone has moments of uncertainty, moments where we question whether we are seeing things clearly. But when someone consistently pushes that uncertainty onto you, it starts to erode your self-belief. They become the one person you look to for answers, slowly taking control of your thoughts and actions without you even realizing it. The more they instill doubt, the more you begin to doubt your worth and your ability to judge situations. It's a constant mental game they play, one that keeps you questioning, keeps you guessing, and keeps you off balance. The more they convince you that your version of events is wrong, the less likely you are to stand firm in your beliefs or to confront them. Instead, you may find yourself apologizing or backing down when you should be asserting your truth. In their mind, they've won the battle for control. What's critical to understand is that doubt is not always something that comes from within you. It's something that bad people plant in your mind to weaken your resolve. It's not about your perception, it's about their ability to manipulate your emotions and thoughts. Recognizing when this is happening is key to maintaining your own sense of reality and self-confidence. You must trust yourself, your instincts, and your memories. Your truth is valid, and no one, no matter how convincing their words may seem, has the right to take that from you. Gaslighting and rewriting reality is one of the most damaging forms of manipulation. It's not just about lying, it's about making you question your very perception of the truth to the point where you begin to doubt your own sanity. A person who gaslights you doesn't just tell you false information, they distort what you know to be real, twisting events or conversations until you no longer trust your own mind. They might say things like, "That's not how it happened," or "You're just being overly sensitive." And at first you might brush it off as a small misunderstanding. But the more they do it, the more you begin to wonder whether you're the one who's getting it wrong. Gaslighting often starts with small, seemingly innocent changes to the truth, but over time it escalates. A simple lie here or there can make you question things you know deep down to be true. You start to doubt your own memory, your own understanding of what's happening around you. They'll tell you that something didn't happen, or they'll deny saying something they clearly said, leaving you wondering if you misheard or misinterpreted the situation. This constant manipulation of facts creates confusion and insecurity, making you rely more and more on them for what is real. It's a slow erosion of your ability to trust your own perceptions. The real danger in gaslighting is that it doesn't just make you question isolated incidents, it makes you question yourself as a whole. You begin to believe that you're overly emotional, irrational, or even crazy. The more you start to doubt yourself, the less power you have in a relationship or situation. The manipulator is effectively rewriting your reality, shaping how you see the world, and controlling how you see yourself. You start to feel like you're losing control over your thoughts and emotions, and that is exactly what they want. They want you to feel small, to feel dependent on their version of the truth, and to question everything you once believed about yourself. Gaslighting is especially dangerous because it's a form of psychological abuse that can remain hidden, making it hard for others to see or understand. On the surface, the manipulator may act like everything is normal, leaving you questioning whether you're exaggerating the problem. They can be so convincing that you start to think you've imagined the manipulation or that it's all in your head. But this is the very essence of gaslighting. It's not just lying, it's erasing your sense of reality and replacing it with their own. And over time, if you don't recognize it, you'll start to lose your sense of self. When they rewrite your reality, they isolate you from your own truth. This is their greatest weapon, making you feel like you can't trust yourself, your thoughts, or your experiences. They become the final authority on what's real and what's not. The more they convince you that your version of reality is wrong, the more power they have over you. They control the narrative, and in doing so, they control your actions, your emotions, and even your perception of the world. To overcome gaslighting, you must reconnect with your own truth. You need to remember that your experiences, your feelings, and your memories are valid, even when someone tries to tell you otherwise. Trust yourself, even when they try to convince you that you're misinterpreting the situation. Recognizing when gaslighting is happening is the first step toward breaking free from it. You don't have to accept their version of reality, especially when it distorts the truth for their benefit. Stay firm in your beliefs and know that you deserve to live in a reality where your thoughts and perceptions are respected, not manipulated. Bad people are experts at making excuses for their behavior, and the more they do it, the more they try to normalize their actions and evade responsibility. Rather than acknowledging the harm they've caused or the wrong choices they've made, they offer a constant stream of justifications and rationalizations to deflect blame. They might say, I had no choice, or I was under a lot of pressure, using circumstances as a shield to hide behind. These excuses serve not just as a way to explain their actions, but as a mechanism to avoid any real accountability for the damage they've done. These excuses are rarely sincere, and more often than not, they are crafted to make the other person feel sympathetic or even responsible for the situation. By claiming that external factors forced them to act in certain ways, they minimize their own agency in the role they played in the outcome. It's a form of manipulation that keeps the focus off their behavior and redirects it towards external causes like stress, outside expectations, or the actions of others. This is done to invalidate your feelings and make you feel like you should excuse or overlook their behavior. They may make you think that if you understood their situation better, you would see why their actions were justified or even necessary. The problem with these excuses is that they are designed to make you question your expectations. They want you to believe that their bad behavior is somehow acceptable because of what they're going through, as if the hardship they're experiencing excuses their disrespect or cruelty. They may say things like, I didn't mean it like that, or I was just having a bad day, making it seem like their actions were an isolated incident that shouldn't be held against them. But what they fail to admit is that this type of behavior is often a pattern, a series of repeated offenses that they try to brush under the rug with shallow justifications. The more they use these excuses, the more they condition you to accept their negative behavior without challenge. It creates an unhealthy dynamic where you are constantly expected to overlook their mistakes or the hurt they've caused, all in the name of understanding or being compassionate. This can eventually make you question whether you're being too harsh, whether you're being too judgmental, or whether they truly have any control over their actions. The truth is, people who habitually make excuses for their behavior are not taking responsibility for their actions. They are simply trying to avoid the discomfort of facing the truth and the consequences of their choices. When you start to accept their excuses, you enable their behavior, and it becomes more difficult for them to be held accountable. They will continue to repeat the cycle, finding new ways to justify their actions and deflect blame, while you are left cleaning up the mess. It's a dangerous pattern that keeps them from growing or changing because they never face the consequences of their actions. Excuses allow them to remain stuck in a cycle of bad behavior while you are left questioning whether they are truly at fault or if you're simply too sensitive. Recognizing this pattern is key. When someone continuously uses excuses to justify harmful behavior, it's important to understand that the behavior is not acceptable, regardless of the circumstances they try to use as a shield. Real growth and accountability come when someone takes responsibility for their actions without trying to make excuses. Don't let anyone convince you that their behavior is your problem to fix or that you should excuse it because of the pressures they face. Bad behavior needs to be acknowledged and addressed, not rationalized away. Tearing others down is a common tactic used by bad people to assert control, manipulate others, and boost their own fragile sense of self-worth. Instead of building people up, they seek to diminish others by pointing out their flaws, weaknesses, or insecurities. They might say things like, you'll never make it, or you're not good enough, not because they believe it to be true, but because it serves to push others down so they can feel better about themselves. It's a deliberate attempt to undermine confidence and break down someone's sense of self. The goal is not to offer constructive criticism or help, rather, it's about making others feel small, insignificant, and powerless. These individuals understand that if they can make someone feel inferior, they gain an advantage. They want to create a power imbalance where the person they're targeting feels less capable, less worthy, and less confident in their abilities. By tearing others down, they build themselves up. It's an insidious form of manipulation where they thrive on seeing others struggle with self-doubt and insecurity. The more they can make someone question their own worth, the more control they feel they have. They prey on vulnerabilities, knowing that a single hurtful comment can linger far longer than any compliment. What makes this tactic particularly harmful is that it doesn't just affect a person in the moment, it can have long-lasting effects. Constantly hearing that you're not enough, that you're too slow, too weak, or too incapable can erode your self-esteem over time. It can lead to a cycle of self-doubt where you begin to question your abilities and your value. These attacks are designed to stay with you, often resurfacing when you least expect them, undermining your confidence and making you hesitant to take risks or pursue goals. Bad people know this. They know that words have power, and that a well-placed insult can do more damage than any physical attack. They often target specific areas of vulnerability, someone's appearance, their career ambitions, or their personal relationships, knowing that those are the areas where they are most likely to be sensitive. These attacks aren't about objective truth. They are designed to be personal and hurtful. They want to expose what they perceive as weaknesses and exploit them to make the other person feel less than. Whether it's mocking someone's dreams, belittling their achievements, or questioning their intelligence, the aim is to create an environment where the other person feels constantly inadequate. The effect of tearing others down is not just on the individual being targeted, it also ripples out to those around them. By breaking someone's spirit, bad people create division and tension. They foster an environment of fear and insecurity where people are afraid to express themselves or to be vulnerable. This kind of toxic behavior can create rifts between people, making it difficult to trust others or to form meaningful, supportive relationships. It's a strategy rooted in fear, where one person's success is viewed as a threat. And so the response is to diminish that success by any means necessary. It's crucial to recognize when someone is trying to tear you down, comings of others. Instead of lifting people up, they use negative words as a way to distract from their own weaknesses. But it's important to remember that their behavior is not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. You don't have to internalize their negativity. Rise above their attempts to break you down and focus on your own growth, knowing that their words are nothing more than tools they use to feed their own insecurities. The behaviors we've discussed, manipulation through flattery, avoiding responsibility, instilling doubt, gaslighting, making excuses for bad behavior, tearing others down, are all tactics used by bad people to maintain control and power over others. These individuals thrive on confusion, insecurity, and self-doubt, constantly seeking to undermine the confidence of those around them. But it's important to understand that these behaviors are not a reflection of your worth, nor are they indicative of your own flaws. Rather, they are projections of their own insecurities and weaknesses. Recognizing these tactics is crucial for protecting yourself from manipulation and emotional harm. Once you can identify when someone is trying to control your perceptions or diminish your sense of self, you can take steps to regain control over your own narrative. Trust your instincts, stay grounded in your truth, and understand that you are worthy of respect, honesty, and kindness. No one has the right to tear you down or make you question your worth. By setting boundaries and refusing to accept these toxic behaviors, you can build a life filled with stronger relationships and greater self-confidence. Remember, true strength lies in knowing your value and refusing to let anyone diminish it.